Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome to the Healthy Her podcast. Today's episode is a little bit of a personal one, and I was undecided about whether I should jump on and record this episode, but I really feel like you are going to get so many takeaways and so many mindset shifts around healthy eating and weight loss from me sharing this episode with you. So I decided to bite the bullet and share this personal episode with you. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my experience of my son going to hospital in the last few weeks. So I'm going to talk you through what happened on our journey to the hospital and like all the aha moments and things that I had while I was there. And then also how that you can take this experience and apply it really easily into your own eating habits with your everyday life. Because I found after the experience of going to hospital, there were so many correlations around healthy eating, and it really reminded me of my why for showing up. Now, if this is the first episode of the Healthy Her podcast that you are listening to, I have been on my own personal healthy eating and weight loss journey, and I've lost 10 kilos after having children. And I just spent a lot of time working on myself and working on my personal growth. If you want to listen to my full Healthy Her story, you can go back and listen to episode 1. And I talk about how I got into healthy eating and fitness and how I lost my weight and my reasons and my why for making a change. So you can go back and listen to that first episode because everything is in there. This trip to the hospital just really was like, it's just a big revelation. Like I found that even though yes, I've lost the weight. And yes, for me now, healthy eating and daily movement and all of those things just come easily to me. They feel natural. They're a part of my everyday lifestyle. It's moments like these that I have these big revelations, these big aha moments as to why I keep showing up for myself and why I do the things that I do. And my hope is that in sharing this experience with you, that it just brings you back to your why and reminds you of your why. And it's often not what we think with healthy eating and weight loss, especially, we get so caught into it being about eating less or getting skinny or being a smaller size and all of those kind of things. Changing your lifestyle and improving the way that you eat for the better is so much more than that. And that's what this episode is all about. So bear with me and we're going to go through this experience and I'm going to give you all of the aha moments towards the later half of the episode. So let's get started and I will start from the beginning. So my youngest son, I have a daughter and a son, and my son has been really ill with the flu. And the flu just wasn't getting any better and he'd been so sick. So we took him to the doctors and the doctor basically said, this is really bad and his oxygen levels are really low and you need to take him straight to hospital. So we spent an entire weekend in the hospital. He was pumped full of lots and lots of antibiotics. I'm pleased to say this was a few weeks ago now and he is on the mend. He is healthy, he's happy, he's back at school. Everything is fine. But when you go to the hospital, you get stuck in the emergency ward first as they take you through to get you assessed and to see how you're going and things like that. So sort of the first part, and I know that there are many parents that and mums that are listening to this, the first part of when you go to hospital is I think we had about 7 hours that we were actually in the emergency department at the hospital. So that wasn't in the waiting room. That was a couple hours in the waiting room and then a couple more hours sort of in a bed and being treated and assessed and all of those kind of things. So when we're at the hospital, I was the parent because you're only allowed to have one parent with you. Like my husband and my daughter were in the waiting room waiting to hear what was happening. So I was in there with my son. We went to the hospital at around 3 o'clock one afternoon. I obviously hadn't eaten dinner, like I was starving. So when we're at the hospital, like the nurses brought us like some sandwiches. I had like a ham sandwich and there was also a couple of jam filled biscuits. And because I was starving, there's no other food. So I had to eat those things. My son nibbled on a bit of food, but he wasn't that hungry. We stayed at the hospital. We eventually were given a bed and taken to a ward after 1 a.m. in the morning after being there since 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you can imagine how exhausted and shattered I felt after being at the hospital for that long. No real dinner, no food. Managed to get probably an hour's sleep during the night as we were monitoring him and keeping an eye on him. And then in the morning, they brought around breakfast. So for breakfast, I had a bowl of rice bubbles with milk. There was two little pieces of fruit on the side. I think it was like a piece of watermelon. There was also a piece of orange on the side. And there was one piece of toast, strawberry jam, and also a cup of orange juice. So that was my breakfast that I had that morning. And come this time, like I'd eaten that stuff. And honestly, I felt like absolute garbage. Now, like, I'm not talking about the simple stress of having to take my son to hospital and being so worried about him and all of those kind of things. I'm talking about the food that I'd eaten within that sort of 24-hour period. I felt like rubbish. I was tired. I was hungry. I couldn't satisfy myself. So, like, I'd have had that breakfast and I was like, okay, well, it's half an hour later and I'm still hungry. So then at the hospital, there's like the children's hospital, especially, there's like a little room for parents and you go and make yourself an instant coffee and there's like juice and apple juice and orange juice in the fridge and like a tray with like those more of those jam biscuits and stuff. So, I went there and I had another coffee and I had a couple more biscuits and I just felt really gross. I couldn't fill myself up. I didn't feel satisfied. I just didn't feel full. I felt really tired. And I know obviously it was from lack of sleep, but I also felt really tired because I hadn't eaten properly for that 24-hour period. And when I was at the hospital, after I'd eaten this breakfast and I'd had sandwiches for dinner and I'd eaten biscuits and coffee and like sugary juices and all that kind of thing. And I was sitting there on the chair and the nurses came in to check on my son and I was thinking, I feel like rubbish. And I had this massive aha moment. I thought, this is how I literally used to eat every single day. Now, this is no joke. You might follow me on social media and see that I have like my Real Nourish high protein pancake bakes for breakfast or oats or eggs or all those kind of things. I used to be the girl that would wake up late. My standard go to daily breakfast was a bowl of Cocoa Pops and I would put sugar on it and I would have orange juice for breakfast was my go-to breakfast. And being at the hospital just reminded me of this is exactly how I used to eat. I used to live on like biscuits and juice and sugary cereals and all of these kind of things. And I could never understand why I couldn't lose weight, why I felt hungry all the time, and why I was just tired and had no energy. So being at the hospital was just a massive aha moment. And the really cool thing from this experience is that the old me would have gone, okay, right. Well, I've eaten all these crappy foods. I'm going to eat less food. I'm going to cut my carbs. I'm going to skip some few meals. And the really cool thing from this experience at the hospital is now that I have the skills and the knowledge that I need around food and nutrition, I knew exactly what was missing from my diet. I knew exactly why I was hungry. I knew exactly why I felt tired. I knew exactly why I just couldn't fill myself up. Now, I'm sure that so many of you can relate to that. You know, that feeling where you just eat and you're like, okay, well, what's next? And then you eat something else and you're like, okay, well, I still need to eat something else. It's like you just can't satisfy yourself and you just can't feel full. And that all comes down to the food that you eat, not just the quality of the food that you eat, but the balance of the food that you eat. So basically for me, all I ate for 24 hours was carbohydrates. There was no healthy fats, there was no protein. And the other thing too is like my husband came in and he brought some supplies. I got some more coffee, I got some lollies, lollies and some chips. And when he brought those things in, I had zero control around them. So normally for me, there's a packet of lollies in front of me. I'm like, yeah, I'll have one or two, couple, because that's all I feel like eating. I nailed the whole bag of lollies because I was so hungry. And that's because my entire diet in the last 24 hours had consisted of carbohydrates. So it was a big aha moment for me because it just reminded me of why I keep showing up for myself. And why is that? Not because I want to be a smaller size or a less number on the scale or to be skinny. It's because I feel damn good. Like, I honestly can't imagine waking up and feeling like that every single day. And I used to be that girl. And it just reminds me of how crappy I used to feel. And that's my wife is sharing this with you because I want you to know that when you educate yourself around food and nutrition and you learn to eat properly and to balance your meals correctly, you get to feel amazing. And I can tell you that's what will keep you coming back to showing up for yourself. It's not that you feel skinny or smaller or you're a smaller dress size, it's the way that it makes you feel. Because I don't want to feel like that. I felt really yuck. I felt out of control around food. I just couldn't satisfy myself. And it's really, really not a nice place to be in. And it is a bit of a cycle that you sort of get stuck in. And so I just had this massive aha moment at the hospital. It's like, wow, this is why I do what I do because I like feeling good. I like waking up and having energy. I like being able to eat a meal like my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, and feeling satisfied after eating that meal. I like to have a bag of lollies put in front of me and be able to stop at a couple and not have to eat the whole bag and then feel guilty about it. Like, it's honestly the best feeling. Like, just to be in that place. Like, that's what food freedom is. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. And that's what it sounds like. It will always keep me coming back because I get to feel good. Yes, looking good is a byproduct as well, but how you feel and how you show up for yourself should be your driving force as to your why for eating healthy and looking after yourself. So, from this experience, I got a few key takeaways that I learned, and I really want to share these with you because the things that I learned from my experience, these things are ones that you can super easily incorporate into your everyday life that can have a pretty significant impact on how you feel about yourself, how much energy you have, how easy it is to say no to junk food or highly processed food. Like I said in the start of the episode, my hope is that in me sharing these, that it really helps you shift your mindset around healthy eating and why you want to do it and why you want to keep showing up for yourself. Because I promise you, once you get to feeling like this, and me at the hospital, when I started to feel awful again, it'll keep bringing you back every time because you'll go off track and you'll feel really average and you'll eat bad food for a week. And it's that feeling that will keep you coming back every time because I know that it does for me. It's my why, it's how I feel because when I feel good, I show up differently for myself and I show up differently for those people that are around me. All right, so let's get stuck into the number one key takeaway from my experience at the hospital. Number one, how you start your day matters. And I feel like there's a lot of misconception around this, especially in the social media space as well, is that people think that you have to have this rock solid morning routine and it's got to be an hour of journaling and 5 hours of exercise and an ice bath and then lemon water. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about how you start your day matters. And I mean by having a simple, easy, healthy start. You need to start your day with a source of protein. I had zero protein in my breakfast at the hospital. And do you know what happens when you don't have protein in your breakfast? You feel hungry not long after you've eaten a meal. So in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I've got no willpower and why am I still hungry and I'm a failure? That's not it at all. It's just because you didn't have any protein in your breakfast. And that's why you feel hungry. And that's why you're now fishing around looking for biscuits and snacks and stuff in the cupboard or the work drawer. It's not that you're a failure. It's just that you're not understanding food and nutrition and learning how to balance your meals properly. So, how you start your day matters. So, an easy way to eat a high protein breakfast. So, for me, I use my Real Nourish meal prep mixes. My absolute favorite and all time, like the one I always go to is my pancake bake because I love it because I can change up the fruit every time. That's got 20 grams of protein in it. And when I eat it and when people buy it and they eat it as well, they always message me and say, wow, Jen, like I'm really full and I had my pancake bake for breakfast and I didn't need to eat until lunchtime. The reason for that is because the Real Nourish pancake bake has the protein already in it. So you mix it, you bake it, you cook it up, you just have to add water and fruit. And that's why you feel fuller for longer. It is the protein that is in there. Are you tired of the endless struggle to eat healthy and nail your meal prep routine? Introducing the Real Nourish Do-It-Yourself Meal Prep Mixes, the ultimate solution for busy women like you. When I went on my own personal health journey, I discovered the many benefits of meal prep, and after much searching, I just couldn't find a meal prep mix that was designed especially for women. So I literally decided to create my own. Trust me, as a busy working mum, meal prep has changed my life. Our mixes are packed with protein to keep you energized and feeling full. Our mixes can be whipped up in under 10 minutes, perfect for your on-the-go lifestyle. Using our award-winning pancake tray bake mix means you can say goodbye to standing over a hot stove, flipping pancakes. Simply add water, toss in your favorite fruits, and bake. If you're ready to revolutionize your meal prep game, you can find my mixes at theactivebod.com or follow us on Instagram at realnourish_. And as a special thank you to our Healthy Her community, we have a discount code. So just enter the code, the Healthy Her, at the checkout. Another easy breakfast that you can try is protein oats. A scoop of protein powder, some oats, your favorite fruit on the top, some blueberries or strawberries, top it with some yogurt, and you've got 20 to 25 grams of protein there to start your day. Again, that protein is going to keep you full until lunchtime. And when you do this, you don't have to rely on willpower. There's no willpower. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm going to be good today and I'm not going to eat those biscuits and I'm going to stay away from the chocolate and I'm not going to stop at 7-Eleven on the way to work. You just don't need to, because when you start your day with a high protein breakfast, you start your day in control. And that's why how you start your day matters. Another easy one is you can use a loaded like egg and veggie omelette. Now, the problem with eggs is a lot of people have the misunderstanding that, well, I've had eggs for breakfast and why I'm still hungry. 2 eggs does not have enough protein in it. So that's why if you're going to have something like eggs, you need to have a balance of eggs as well as egg whites, because the egg whites are lower in calories and they don't have the fat in them. So you're getting the healthy fats from having, say, 2 eggs, and then you would add a few egg whites to that. And what that will do is it will keep those calories down, but it will increase the protein amount in that meal. So also to adding cottage cheese to that breakfast, to those, when you mix up your scrambled eggs and things, you can add that into your omelette, have the cottage cheese. Again, that's another easy way to increase the protein in your breakfast. So like I said, if you are someone that is having your breakfast and you're having toast for breakfast, like I did at the hospital, I had some jam toast and a bowl of cereal, and you are feeling hungry afterwards, there is a reason for that. It is not because you can't lose weight. It's not because you lack willpower. It's not because you are weak. It's because there's no protein in your breakfast. So how you start your day matters. Start your day with a high protein breakfast and message me. Send me a DM on Instagram and let me know how you're going after changing your breakfast to a high protein breakfast. So many of the girls in our Healthy Eating Hype Gal membership comment on the same thing. We have one woman in the membership and her go-to breakfast for years, and she's struggled with weight loss for over 30 years, was toast. And now she's switched to pancake bakes or oats or like loaded omelets and those kind of things. And she just said that she can really feel the difference. When she has that toast, she feels hungry, and she feels hungry for the rest of the day. So how you start your day and what you eat at the start of the day really can impact how easy it is to lose weight and how easy it is for you to eat healthy consistently throughout the day. Okay, let's jump in to number 2, because this was another big revelation that I had from my experience at the hospital. The quality of your sleep is so important. Now, obviously, I didn't get a choice in my sleep because I was obviously at the hospital. It was an emergency situation, but it was another one of those moments where I'm just reminded of why getting a good night's sleep is so important. My body and brain throughout that period at the hospital, from poor nutrition and lack of sleep, couldn't function properly. Like the nurse was asking me, because when the nurses come around, they ask you all the questions. Is this your date of birth? She asked me a phone number. I couldn't even remember my phone number because I was so tired. And I was always like trying to pick at more biscuits or, like I said, the lollies, or I was just trying to find, like, I had quite a few of those little cups of, like juices and apple juice and orange juice and things that they had at the hospital because I was so tired. I was just constantly trying to reach for food to try and give me that pickup, that buzz, that little hit of energy that I was needing. So, really focus in on getting a good night's sleep because I really feel like it's an underrated thing when it comes to weight loss and healthy eating. If you don't sleep right, you can't eat right because your brain doesn't function properly. It just doesn't. You're working at a lesser capacity. It is very hard to make good, healthy food choices when you are tired because you will always reach for the coffee, the snacks, the high sugar treats, the processed foods because you're looking for that quick buzz to get you through until nighttime. So, if you are someone that is not prioritizing a good night's sleep, like make it a priority. Turn your phone off. Like I have phone free time, like 8 o'clock. My phone is off, it is away, and I just don't pick it up again because my sleep is really important to me because I know that I show up differently when I've had a good night's sleep. I eat better. It has so many knock on effects. So, getting a good quality night's sleep is really, really important. So, really make that a priority for yourself moving forward because your sleep matters and your sleep has a direct impact on how you eat. And I feel like it's something that's not talked about enough. So, if you're not getting enough sleep, really make that a priority this week. Okay, number three, eating a high carb diet with no protein and no healthy fats will just leave you hungry. So, like I said, because I have upskilled myself around healthy eating and nutrition, after this experience at the hospital, I had all the skills that I needed to know exactly what I needed to do once I got home. So, like I said, the old me would have gone, okay, well, I've eaten all this crap here at the hospital. I'm going to go home. I'm going to skip some meals. I'm going to cut some carbs. I'm going to go on a diet. I've got to rechange everything. I've got to start all over again. And you really don't need to do that. Eating the high carb diet that I did, so high carb was your breads, your cereals, your juices, all of those kind of things. I had no protein over that time and I had no healthy fats. And what it did is it just left me hungry. So often we get sort of stuck in this mindset of to improve our diets and to lose weight and eat healthy, that we have to take all this stuff out, like eat less sugar and have lower fats and everything's got to be low in calories. But what you actually need is that your meals that you eat, your main meals especially, need to be more balanced. And that's what I work through the girls in the Healthy Eating Hype Girl membership with. They'll come into the membership and we do their diet audit as soon as they come in and we look at how much they're eating, where their calories are coming from. We work out their calorie deficit from there. And they're all really surprised is that you can literally eat whatever you want in a calorie deficit, still lose weight, but it's just about that balance. You have to have that balance. So, a good balance of protein, carbohydrates, fats, and fiber, because that's where the magic happens. And that's where you get that special mix, that special blend where you can lose weight, you can enjoy the foods that you love, you can feel full, you can feel in control of your eating. So, it's really important that your meals and your plates are balanced. And the truth is, the way I ate at the hospital was the old way that I used to eat. Majority of women that I work with eat a high carb diet with little to no protein and no healthy fats. And that's why we all feel so hungry and so out of control around food. It's not that you're a failure. It's not that you can't do it. It's just that you're not balancing your meals properly. And I really want to keep having this conversation and keep talking about this more because these are the kind of things that no one taught me when I was trying to lose weight, because we get so sucked into the stuff that the media is showing us. And it's always got to be eat less and move more and like go keto and do intermittent fasting and all these kind of things, when it's the simple stuff done repeatedly that works the best. So it's really about getting back to making sure and having a look at your food and focusing on balancing your plate. And like I said, that sounds really boring. It's not as exciting as intermittent fasting or, hey, let's drop 5 kilos in 5 weeks. But I can tell you, if you learn the skill of learning how to balance your meals, you will be set for life. Like, it is a skill. And honestly, it has changed my life. Like I said, after this hospital experience, I know exactly what I need to do. It's no dieting. Don't need to eat less. I just need to go home and balance the meals. And I did that as soon as I got home from hospital. And within a day or two, I felt like my usual amazing self, like full of energy, and I felt good and all of those kind of things. And that literally all came down to the food that we eat. So it's really important to focus on just the quality of the food that you eat, because it really does impact so many parts of our life. And it's what this experience taught me. It's my why. It's my why for showing up, because when I eat well, and I mean, the other thing too, obviously, because I was at the hospital, I didn't move for a couple of days at all. So I felt more tired than usual. I felt sluggish. Like, moving your body daily and eating a well nourished diet. And like I said, I'm not talking about eating organic and eating everything perfectly. I'm talking about an 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, you eat good food, nourished, balanced plates, protein, carbs, fats, lots of fiber, fruit and vegetables, all those kind of things. And the other 20%, you go out with your friends and enjoy a margarita or a glass of wine, or you eat out, have a big bowl of pasta at your favorite restaurant with your family. Like, it's about 80-20. It is about doing both and shifting our mindsets from just doing one or just doing the other. So I wanted to end this podcast by sharing one of my favorite quotes. And I have posted this one on my Instagram before. And it's always one that, honestly, I just keep coming back to. I keep coming back to over and over and over again every single time. So I'm just going to read it out for you. It's a feeling you should chase, not a dress size or a number on the scale. It's the feeling that will keep you coming back every single time. And that is the quote that has stuck with me forever, because it's what keeps me coming back. Every time, I've had a really few busy weeks and I'm feeling tired, or we've gone on holidays and I've eaten out more than usual, or I haven't been cooking at home as often as I normally would. It's that feeling of feeling good about myself and liking myself and having lots of energy and being in control of my food. That is what keeps me coming back every single time. And I know how good it feels, and I genuinely just want you to feel that way too, because I promise you that when you get to this side of the fence where you have complete food freedom, you know exactly how to eat to not only reach your goals, but to feel your best, I promise you, you just won't ever want to go back. And every time you have a little bit of a oopsie or you feel off track, you'll just go, nah, that lifestyle's not for me. And I want to look and feel amazing. And I promise you, it will keep you coming back to that lifestyle every single time. I hope you found today's episode super helpful. Like I said, it was a bit of a personal one, sharing my personal story about my son's pneumonia and his trip to the hospital. But I just knew that I had to record this podcast because there are so many takeaways and so many aha moments that you can easily apply into your everyday life. If you are needing a kickstart, you can head to the link in the bio, also to my website, theactivebod.com, and you can download your healthy eating and weight loss essentials kit. It's got a free meal plan. There's new recipes to try, some weight loss tips. It's a really great one, just to give you a fresh dose of inspiration and motivation to get you started on your journey. Or you can also jump in and join the Healthy Eating Hype Gal membership and get started on your journey with me today. As always, thank you for listening. And if you have a spare moment, please don't forget to leave a 5-star review. I'm so grateful, and it helps me get this message out to more women, because I really feel like that these are the kind of conversations that as women we need to be having. We need to be spending less time focusing on all of these quick fixes and just getting back to basics so that we can get back to looking and feeling our very best. I will see you in our next episode of the Healthy Her podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing, because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @theactivebod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.